Hey guys, welcome back to the latest video blog. Today we're going to talk about target persona, or finding out who your target demographic is, your target audience, that perfect customer. So we're going to go over a couple of things, and we're going to kind of step it out a little bit, but the first step is knowing your product. So this is something that's really important that I think a lot of people tend to overlook, unfortunately, and that is the product that you're offering. Well, what's setting you apart? What's making you more valuable than the other guy? I really love the idea that every business should start the same way. You find a problem and then you sell the solution. So really, your product, you need to know like what didn't exist before, and then you made your widget, your wazoo, and now that's a thing that exists. So the problem's corrected. So it's really important that you know what you're selling and why there's value, because if you don't know the point behind the product, then it's going to be really hard to figure out who needs that product, right? So that's step one, is just really understanding the value of your product and what you have to offer, what you're bringing to the table. So we'll kind of move to step two, which is analyzing data, really. So what you're going to do is you look at your customer history, and it can be, even if you've been around for 1 week or 1 decade, you have some type of customer history. Some people that have been interested in what you're doing or whatever it is, right? So you're going to look at your customer history. You're going to see who spent how much on what and how often, and find some of those buying patterns, right? So some of those interactions and buying patterns, that's what you're going to really look for. You're going to weed that down. So you're going to use the data that your product has put together for you to figure out who is the best customer for you, right? You can look at all those patterns. Are they? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Are they young? Are they old? Are they married? Do they live in the suburbs? Do they live in the city? So if you have even the basic customer data put away somewhere, then you're going to be great. You're going to have that information at your fingertips. It's really important. So whether you're using QuickBooks Online or MailChimp's got good, a pretty decent system where you can have all that stuff in there. It's important to have some type of customer, management, customer management system, to where you can go back and look at who's spending what and find out some information about them. So you're going to get all those things together, find those patterns, and then you're going to move on to your market research part of the thing. And here's where I think a lot of small businesses, and remember, this is geared towards a small business that doesn't have the kind of budget that's necessary to go out and talk to one of these larger firms to do all this work for you and run data, analytics and all that stuff. So this is just something that's like grassroots, homegrown, DIY, figuring out your target persona. So keep that in mind. So the third step is what I call market research. So what you're going to do is go back to step two, pull all that data, all that information, get online, talk to your branding person, whatever it is, figure out what that perfect customer for you likes to engage in. Figure out what their content habits are. Do they love Facebook? Do they spend most of their time on Instagram? Do they prefer print materials? Do they like video? Do they prefer a text message to get updates? Do they like podcasts? So you're really going to dive in and some spend a day on Google and figure it out. Or again, you can get in touch with us, and we have an extensive list of different types of clients, and we're B2B, but we have so many different clients that we have a little bit of understanding of everyone's market. So that experience is there, but this is really something you can do just on a Saturday, or on a Sunday. Just take some time and think about it. And most likely you're gonna, if your target demographics, women between the ages of 40 and 55, you probably know some. So just take time and figure out what they like to engage in, what makes them happy, where do they like to get content from. then this next part of it is it really ties back to the just asking thing, and it's use your own social media platforms and your own networks and things like that to leverage information, right? You're already on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is personally, or maybe you're going to networking events for business. Instead of, so here's a perfect example. Get on Facebook and say, hey, I'm really trying to figure out what young men between in their 20s love to read about. So if you guys could help me out, offer suggestions for articles, websites they like, whatever, musicians, whatever it is, right? So you're just trying to gather again the information, content resources, things like that, things that are going to be enjoyable from that target demographic, right? And if you're in a networking event, all networking events, you get your 30 seconds of, hey, I'm so-and-so and I'm from so-and-so and here's what we do and a great referral would be and blah, blah, blah. Next time you go to one, just say, hey, here's what we do. I'm really trying to grow our target demographic. So if anybody could help me out, I'm trying to find information about, what this bracket of person likes to read. So if you fall into that category, I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee and just get to know a little bit more about you. I mean, that's a great way to do it. And coffee is not that expensive. So think about things like that, right? You're going to leverage your own social media and your own network and your own groups of friends and stuff to get this market data. If you're B2C, this is the easiest way to do it. That's how we did it early on, really early on. That's kind of what we did, and it works. It really does work. As a perfect example is we took over a social media account that had about 700 and some change followers, right, on their Facebook page. And we really just sat down and thought long and hard about, well, who's the target demographic here? It was moms. So we're going to change up how we display content on the Facebook page. It's not all going to be about selling the products, right? It's not all going to be about, look what we can do for you. We're really going to change the whole thing to be more mom-centric is what we've been calling it, where we're really hyper-focused on like fun craft ideas, great stories about moms and kids, and really just hone in on that. And within a month or two, I mean, we shot up to somewhere between maybe close to 2,500 followers organically. Like, we're not spending boost budgets or anything doing this stuff. Like, this is just all organic. We're hitting 700, 800, 900,000 reach on each post organically. And it's just that little bit of a shift. I mean, you really just have to have the experience. We have the experience to do that. So that's not going to be every case, obviously, but you can get there if you just take the time to really understand what you're selling, who needs it, and what do they want to know about. Because if you want to approach a customer base online with social media, especially with Facebook or Instagram, you really have to provide something that they're going to enjoy and that they're going to interact with without you having to spend a bunch of money, right? So you want them coming to interact with the posts and the articles and the content that you're providing. You want them to enjoy that engagement so that every now and then you can go, hey, I've given you all these great articles. Would you like our newsletter? Or can we send you a coupon or whatever it is? But the most important thing before you can get to the ask, after you've given all this great content, before you can get to the ask, you have to take the steps to figure out who you're trying to ask. You can't cast, when you're a small business, you just can't cast this massive net, right? Sure, you could throw a huge net out there and try to get all the customers and bring them all in. But the problem with a huge net is they've got big holes, right? So maybe you get a few, but they're not going to be great long-term customers. You really want to narrow that down and be hyper-focused on the right person, sell them your product, then they'll eventually become your greatest fans and they'll cast nets of their own and tell people about how great you were and all those wonderful things that come along with being successful on social media. So just stuff to think about. And again, but if you have any questions or you need some help or any of that stuff, you're welcome to reach out. We're here for you. So you can email me, dan@metronovacreative.com. You can look us up, Metronova Creative, on Facebook. Dan from Metronova it's on Instagram. So if you have questions, just hit me up, reach out. And as usual, everyone be well, be good, and have a good day. Bye.